Hey, everybody, welcome. Episode 6, Education Smeducation. We're having a nice time. It's probably, I'll tell you when we're recording this. It's almost Christmas. We're having a nice time. I'm ready to go to my mother's house with my girlfriend in a matter of hours. Everything's festive. Everyone's still locked down. The government has decided to give us $600, which I think is very nice of them. They're very nice people, the government. They're real sweethearts. I will say that I have heard some things recently about the podcast, and they've all been positive. So thank you to people who have been saying positive things to me. Our first episode just got released, and no one has told me to stop doing the show yet. And I really appreciate that. I think
that's good.
Any sort of positive reinforcement is always welcome. You know who else is always welcome? The headmaster, Ken Hamlett. Ken, how you doing today?
Hey, I am great. Great. That was a really good intro.
Thank you.
I was thinking
I've been working on it. Yeah. I wrote all of that stuff out. And I even wrote out the awkward pauses when I was trying to figure out what to say. I even wrote, there was a thing. I was like, hey, am I going to mention that the soccer team I like won a big trophy over the weekend? No, let's not do that. Then let's kind of mention it. Yeah. This is still all, we write all this, our witty banter, me and you, Ken. We sit down, there's one Starbucks open in all of Chicago. And it's only open because we've busted the window, and we go in there and we write our witty top of show podcast banter.
The best banter on the internet. That's what they say. That's what the reviews are saying all day.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't check Reddit. I don't do that. Anyway, speaking of Reddit, our guest today, boy, oh boy, going back through the ranks, we've had people who've played teachers on television. We've had people who are studying to be teachers. This is our first kind of professor. Can we say that, John Boy?
Yeah, man. I have been a professor.
We got a GD college P on the PC today. A good pal, a man who's blown up the internet with his viral Christmas cards. And I'm only saying that not because it's silly, but I'm saying that because that sentence is fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's worse that it's the top line on my resume, but like
it is. And that's why he's back in school trying to get an MBA. What was the last time you did stand-up, John?
Like 2 years ago, I think.
Former stand-up comedian.
Yeah, so I did it for about 6, and then it's been 2 since I got off. And let me tell you, I got out when the getting was good.
You got out exactly when you needed to. Anyway, John Cessna is with us today. How's it going, buddy?
It's going real well, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. I would say that we had a rivalry for many years due to your old employer.
No, my current employer.
Your current employer.
I left and then I came back.
You boomeranged.
I did. I boomeranged for more money. I was like, give me more money. And they were like, no. And I was like, haha. So I left and then I came back and they gave me more money.
That you did a preseason camp holdout is what you did.
I did. I held out. I literally held out for a better contract.
You Le'Veon Bell'd these motherfuckers.
I did. And I have no interest in going to Kansas City.
None.
You should go to Kansas City.
Is this your weird new character? The aunt who tells you to go to Kansas City.
You should go. I'm preparing for my mom here. This is the thing my mom does. And I love my mom to death. She's the greatest. But my mom will hear about certain things on TV or the internet and then suggest them to me to do. Like, she'll be like, "Oh, Conan O'Brien does the podcast. Maybe you should do a podcast." I was like, "Ma, 65 episodes of one." I've had a podcast longer than he has.
I wish you would only suggest things to do in cities that you heard from different variants of NCIS.
Oh, you should go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Scott
Bakula's there.
Not solving murders down there. I'm watching them. Anyway.
And that's when you go, because I kill on stage. Get it? Yes. Yeah, tie it back to your career. God, I will teach you how to promote by the time this is over.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so John was a University of Michigan guy, still is.
Yeah.
And I went to Michigan State. And boy, was it a good time to be at Michigan State when I was there. And boy, oh boy, did it get crappy after I left. I think it got crappy because of my leaving. I think once I moved, they were like, we can let this go to shit.
So what years were you there?
2008 to 2012.
So I don't know if we've ever talked about this. I'll
talk about anything.
I got into grad school at State, and they offered me actually more money than where I ended up doing my master's. And I turned down. They got a little salty about it. But had I said yes, you and I would have been at State at the same time.
How did they get salty about it?
They were like, I said, thank you. I appreciate the offer, blah, blah. I've chosen to go to a different program, another direction. They said, well, do you realize how few of these funded offers we make? And I was like, no, I mean, I'm very appreciative. Thank you. But I mean,
that's why Michigan over Michigan State when they offered more money?
Because he's a piece of shit.
Well, okay. So I work for U of M, but this is when I was doing my first master's. Michigan State was offering me more money to do a Master of Science, and I ended up staying at Purdue to do a Master of Fine Arts, which typically an MFA, that's the degree you need to be a professor. It's a terminal degree like a PhD is. It's harder to get. It takes longer to get.
Oh no, it's terminal.
It's terminal. Yeah. There's no treatment for it. Like your fucking bank account when you have an MFA. But most of the time
I had to inject some humor into this.
You need an MS to get an MFA or an MA or an MS to get an MFA. And so when Purdue was like, hey, we'll offer you like 80% of the money to get this degree, I was like, shit, I can skip a step. So
there you go.
Yeah. And
your blood now, it used to be Boilermaker gold and black, and now you're as blue as the day is long.
Yeah, hemophilia. It's real rough.
It's terrible. How do you go from black to blue? That's crazy. It should be red. My blood's red. Ken, your blood red?
Super red.
I think, isn't all blood technically blue, and then it only turns red when it hits the air?
I heard that was an old wives' tale.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I heard that from my ex-wife, Donna. Boy, have I talked about Donna on here? She was a peach, great lady, until she wasn't. So in high school, what just bring me through your schooling pre-college. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not gonna be a professor. I don't want to do that.
I mean, I had a pretty standard elementary, middle, and high school all in the same town.
Yeah, Mishawaka,
Elkhart, Indiana. Had I wish Mishawaka, because then I would have gone to high school with Star Wars star Adam Driver. But
is he from Mishawaka, Indiana?
He is, man.
Why did I think you? Oh, can I tell you a secret?
You love Adam Driver.
I thought he was from Nebraska because my friend Zach Peterson is from Nebraska and he looks a lot like him.
I mean, in your defense, Nebraska and Indiana often confused for one another.
I mean, they're only 12 hours apart.
only. And their major exports are like corn, white people, and meth.
Yeah. So. I had a lot. Have you either of you guys ever been in Nebraska?
Yeah. Driving through.
There's some great crowds there. It blew my mind. But then I realized if they're not doing this, they're not doing anything.
Correct.
So of course they're great crowds.
Yeah.
Like, how are they not going to be great? Anyway, I'd love to go back. Omaha, I'll see you in 8 years when we can travel again.
Dude, you're 10 months into a pandemic. You'd love to go anywhere.
Oh my God. I was talking the other day. I mentioned this a couple times on the podcast. I would love to stay at a Radisson. That's all I want to. I just want to go to the Radisson and have a lobby waffle and get paid $250 for 4 shows and not even complain about it. That's all I want to do.
Does the Radisson have the waffle maker where you put it in and then you flip the machine over and then it like counts down and then you flip it back and it falls out?
Of course it does.
Nice.
I don't accept anything less than that.
Why
I
would
never
you
got there,
stay
Mike.
anywhere that doesn't have that.
Well, because I wasn't that strong of a feature.
They wouldn't have me at your B rooms.
No.
I couldn't get past the, I was just ready to pitch my merch when I got up there.
Yeah, I know. I own some of your merch.
Oh, I had good merch.
You
Boy,
did
oh
have
boy.
good merch.
If you're out there and you want an Ann Arbor Man Harbor t-shirt or a total shithead koozie, just send me a message and I will get one for you. Toot sweet. So when you're in school, what were you like? Were you a good student? Did you like school? Did you know that you would be in academia for a long time? Like how were you as a student, as a young boy? Little plucky Johnny C.
I mean, I was okay. At the end of high school, they shoved me into the honors program in middle school. And then my favorite memory is I was in all the honors classes. And then when you're going to high school, if you wanted to be in honors social studies, you had to get a signature from your social studies teacher and your English teacher at the time.
Okay.
And my English teacher was,
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And my English teacher, I remember her specifically saying, "You're not trying to be in honors English, are you?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Oh, thank God, you shouldn't be in honors English."
Okay.
And then cut to sophomore year, I'm on the football team playing very poorly, but I'm funny. So they like me.
Okay.
And they were like, "You have to get into honors English now." And I was like, "Why?" I was told I'm not smart enough to be in honors English. All my friends from the football team are in my regular English class. We're watching that movie where the soccer team crashed in the mountains, and I hear they're going to eventually eat each other, but I would like to see what happens in this movie.
Okay.
And they're like, "You have to join honors English because you haven't missed a single question on a exam in the last 2 years."
No.
And I was like, "Fuck." So then they started shoving me in honors classes.
Okay.
High school again.
And then from there, were you like, apart from academics, like who'd you run with? Are you a troublemaker? You're on the straight and narrow. What are you doing?
I ran with everybody I could.
You just a wisecracking third string left tackle. What are you doing?
Dude, legit. I was left tackle number 72.
No way.
For the Elkhart Central Blue Blazers, and I don't mean to brag, but 72 now hangs in the Applebee's in Elkhart, Indiana.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah.
Just by coincidence.
Just by coincidence.
Not because you worked at that Applebee's.
No.
You were a shit football player, but you were so good at slinging hash at that Applebee's that you got your number retired.
Exactly. No, I remember my senior year on yearbook day, I counted, I was in 17 clubs.
Damn.
Whoa.
Just because I just wanted, I talked over Zoom with this about my therapist this morning, my unending desire to never be alone. And so I was in every club that I could be in and was just like the fat, funny kid in high school who just wanted to have friends and feel accepted. So I was on the football team. I threw shot put in track. I played violin in the orchestra. I was class secretary, mock trial.
A lot of sexual harassment back then?
Oh my God. Yeah. A lot of ass slapping, let me tell you.
Yeah. You're getting coffee. They're not looking you in the eye. I get it.
No, it's terrible. And let me tell you, as class officer, it was really offensive to be paid 68 cents on the dollar.
That's terrible. That's horrible. So what was like the weirdest club you were in?
Oh man, that's a good question. Probably mock trial. No. I totally know. It's United Nations. Because in my high school, United Nations at every other high school was serious. And they prepped for like months to go to, and Model UN was at U of M. And so like from like states around, they came, they had this big lecture call, they debated, you broke out. Except at my high school, Model UN was coached by the football coaches.
Oh no.
Whoa.
And they told us like on the bus ride up, they were like, "Hey, we know it's only an hour and a half ride, but we're going to stop at a big boy so you can all get a little taste of the city." And then and they're like, you are allowed to miss 3 of your 6 like sessions.
Miss?
You didn't have to go to half of it.
Wait. So what do you mean? Like
So
you drove 3
Oh.
hours to Ann Arbor and you didn't even have to go to all of the things you were supposed to go to?
No, we were 17. We were in Ann Arbor. We wandered around campus.
Wow.
We got to stay in a hotel. It
Tight.
really was like something out of a movie because like we were kind of supervised, but not really supervised. When we got a little out of hand, the football coaches at that point we could tell were drunk. There was like a random exchange student who showed up to go to like the hotel like hot tub in her bikini, which at like 17, you're like, oh my God, this is insane. And our school had such a bad reputation at the Model UN that you are assigned a country and a committee that your school has to be on.
Mhm.
Our subcommittee was weapons of mass destruction, and our country was Jamaica.
That's hilarious.
They have, yeah, okay. Boy, oh boy. First off, I'm glad that the Caribbean is finally getting a seat at the table.
For sure.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that they're like the leading marketers for weapons of mass destruction. So
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
talk about bomb Kush. Am I right, fellas?
When you think about Caribbean representation, you really want a pale Danish boy from Indiana to be the voice of that community.
Yeah. That's so, oh man. But were you guys drinking on the trip as 17?
No. I'm sure some kids were. I was just cool enough to like be friends with those people, but not cool enough to like I assume the cool kids were like, there are people I want to invite over, but there are people I'm not sure would be narcs. And I think I was cool enough to have the first key turn to be invited, but not cool enough they weren't. He might narc on us.
Oh,
So
I see.
I would find out about the parties, and people would get so drunk they would think I was at the parties, but I was never invited to the parties.
Okay. I see. I understand. What do you remember where the hotel was in Ann Arbor? And this is
I don't. I really, now that I've lived here for 8 years, I wish I
Yeah.
could so badly.
I wish you could too. That's amazing though. Jamaica weapons of mass. That's crazy. Wow. Good for them for knowing what they had with the Elkhart Blue Blazers.
Yeah.
Also, the Blue Blazer, that is a terrible mascot, but a great fashion choice.
Oh man, have you actually seen what the mascot looks like?
No, I'll pull it up right now. Is it Elkhart Central or what's the name of the high
So
school?
it's Elkhart Central Blazers, and now they're not a high school anymore. Just this year they merged with the other high school because I think they got tired of losing football games. But the mascot is fantastic if you can find a picture of it.
Okay, I will, and I'll tweet this out once this comes up. This episode comes up. Well,
whoa.
I got his name. It's Mr. B.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty insane.
That
It's
is
like
great. It's basically like a hummingbird, but like he's wearing work boots and like work clothes, and he's riding a lightning bolt.
Yeah, we also joked that it was like a coked out mosquito riding a lightning bolt.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And here's the crazy thing, that mascot is like 90 years old.
of course it is.
Yeah.
That it looks like the kind of thing that you would see on the side of an old airplane from the war and not know whether or not it was a racist thing on the side of it. Like you're like, I don't know.
Actually, it was great because in high school, like that was when a lot of Indiana was really waking up to representation. So a lot of the high schools around us were changing their mascots. Like you couldn't be obviously the Redskins anymore. You were the Red Hawks. And so every high school kept changing. We were like, haha, fuck you. We're not changing anything. We are like the LSD fever dream of a 1920s art teacher. We don't got to do shit.
We're throwing everyone for a loop.
Yeah.
Like, can you just change yours because we don't like it?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a fair critique.
Yeah. Why can't we just be like, I don't know, the Tigers or something? Let's.
I think they're the Lions now.
Okay. What was so that logo we just saw was on the side of the helmet?
No, I think we just had numbers on the side of our helmet.
Oh, that's
no, or maybe lightning bolts.
Okay, like Air Force would have.
Yeah.
Okay. And so did you get in any trouble at all in high school? Was there
Not
ever like a
really.
thing where you were like, oh,
Not really. I remember this was around the time Instant Messenger came out. And so you would
okay.
talk to all your friends on Instant Messenger. And I remember referencing to someone that like I would knock their block off. I think I used the exact phrase knock your block off. And it was like an early lesson in how there is no tone when communicating online.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I
you
think
were
they thought it was a
joking,
threat.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was joking because I was 17 years old in the year 2003 using the phrase knock your block off. But I do remember getting called into the principal's office for that. And he was like, did you tell this person you would knock their block off? And I was like, yeah, but I meant it like in a Three Stooges way. And he was like, oh yeah, I understand that. He's like, do you see the lesson here? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, bye.
Boy, oh boy. Just a reminder for longtime fans of the show. A couple episodes ago, a guy confessed to arson on the podcast when I asked him that question. And Cessna is doing some 1940s style cyberbullying.
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
I didn't get in trouble. But like our high school, we were on Fox News my senior year because
What happened?
We
Tell
set
me
the
all
record
about that.
for the number of no, it was my sophomore year. The record for the number of felonies committed by a high school in a week.
What? Was that purposeful?
We had like 18 felonies committed by students in a week, and they were all lame.
Okay.
Like 7 kids blew up a mailbox, and that was a felony.
Nice.
One guy.
A federal offense.
Yeah,
it's a federal offense blowing up a mailbox.
Take that, Louis DeJoy. Is that the postmaster douchebag's name right now?
Oh, nice.
One guy was smoking pot or smoking a cigarette in his car, and they were like in the school parking lot, and the guy was like, "Hey, put that out," and he was like, "No," and so the cop ran his plates, and he was in a stolen car.
Oh shit! Okay.
My personal favorite was a guy named Tedrick, who worked at KFC. He got off at KFC, walked out, put a bag over his head, walked back in, robbed the KFC with his name tag still on.
That's amazing.
So like all this happened in like 1 week, and I remember us being on Fox News as like a throwaway line. And I'm pretty sure that dude Tedrick went on to play football at Cincinnati.
Okay. Oh boy, good for them. Good for Tedrick.
Yeah.
Also, kept the name Tedrick, not Teddy, not Ricky.
I mean, if you have the confidence to own the name Tedrick,
yeah,
like good for you.
Own it to the point that it foiled his own robbery.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, no, I want people to know who I am. All right.
Yeah. I want the colonel to know.
Original recipe Tedrick. All 11 herbs and Tedricks are getting this bag, baby.
I wish you still had merch, because I would definitely buy a t-shirt that said all 11 herbs and Tedricks.
Write it up, put it on there. Brandon, Big Laughs Comedy Network. The people are demanding all 11 herbs and Tedricks shirts. So oh man. And all the while all these felonies are happening, you're writing why I oughta to someone on Instant Messenger. That's amazing.
Yeah, basically, and struggling with honors trig. So
I will send you to the moon, Alice. Now,
yeah.
You know you don't have access to the technology to send this woman to the moon, right?
I know, it's a pressurization problem. Let's talk about the physics curriculum.
Oh man, that's amazing. What man, and did you see at this point, because we've heard two different answers to this question. At this point, did you see college as like, oh, I can get out of here if I do X, Y, and Z?
And I didn't want to get out of there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I specifically, I remember telling my mom, like, all my friends are going to go build RVs because Elkhart, Indiana is the motorhome capital of America.
Isn't there I think his last name's Raper. Is that in Elkhart?
No, I don't know specifically of someone named Raper in Elkhart.
Okay.
Maybe a nickname or something.
No. There
Yeah.
was like a big RV. No. This is a real thing. I promise. I'm not just trying to say.
I mean, like
that word.
Jimmy Buffett, or not Jimmy Buffett, Warren Buffett owns one of the RV companies.
Okay, but there was an RV dealership that I think was Jack Raper that I would hear
Oh, maybe.
radio commercials about. I'm not making this up. I promise.
Maybe
If
it's
I
entirely
am-
possible.
And if I was making it up, that's the dumbest thing to make up. But yeah, so you're like, oh, I want to. That's a guy who now has a master's and a professor, and you're trying to get another master's degree. What changed from all my friends are staying here and I want to build RVs with them to now? Like what? Lay it on me.
My mom was like, "You're going to college." She's like, "I've
Okay.
saved all this money for all these years. You're going to college."
Yeah.
And then, so at the last minute, I didn't know what college I wanted to go to. I didn't know what I wanted to study. I applied to like a bunch of colleges, and I got some scholarships. The only one that rejected me was Harvard, and they strung me along every cut, and then I didn't make the final cut. And I am very thankful that I saved my Harvard rejection letter, and I've had it framed over the toilet in every place I've lived since I was 18 years old.
Yeah. Hell
Um,
yeah. I'm a Yale man. Everyone knows that.
I know, man.
I'm Bulldogs every day.
Living that Connecticut life.
Oh yeah, New Haven pizza. You know it, buddy.
But,
Yeah, the best thing that Yale ever did was Mark Zuckerberg didn't go there. Am I right? Huh?
I had a crush on a girl who was my prom date, and she was
There we
like,
go.
I'm going to IU, going to Indiana. And I was like, well, clearly if I go to Indiana, we will fall in love. So at the last minute, I was like, I'm going to IU.
Obviously, that's how it
Yeah.
works.
Mhm.
Did you guys fall in love?
No, I really did not enjoy my time at IU. My first weekend at IU, I drank beer for the first time and got arrested.
What?
Damn.
Okay, wow. I got arrested my second weekend in college. That's crazy.
Jeez.
Good for you. Well, you work twice as hard as me. So
Yeah. Also, that was not the first time I drank, but it was my first time drinking not in the city limits of Detroit. And it turns out that outside of Detroit, there are rules. Who knew?
Well, my freshman year at IU, over the summer, they had gotten #1 party school in the country from Playboy, and so they were just arresting everybody. Like everybody got drinking tickets that fall. And I hated it. I lived alone. I made one friend in the population of like 40,000 students, and the girl that I wanted to date at IU, out of all those people, started dating that one friend's roommate.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
Daily reminder of why you went to IU.
Yeah.
So I made it one semester at IU, and then I transferred to IU South Bend. Go Titans.
Okay.
And I was 18, and my parents wouldn't let me move back home. So at 18, I had an apartment in Mishawaka, your favorite city,
I love
where
it.
I had like a mattress on the floor and one chair and like a 27-inch TV because I'd moved out of my single dorm.
Wow. Why did you have a single dorm? I feel like that's an oversight.
I didn't want a roommate. And so actually it's awful.
You could have doubled the amount of friends you had if you had a roommate.
I could have. Looking back, it would have been a smart move.
Yeah.
But I wrote an essay on how much I loved working out so I could get a single room in the wellness dorm.
That's a lot of extra steps to live alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And all these kids are like, "You want to go to the gym?" I'm like, "No, I just bought these 2 bagel sandwiches, and it's back-to-back episodes of Dawson's Creek on TBS. So y'all have fun pumping."
Man, would they have wellness checks in the wellness dorm? Like, would they go from door to door and be like, "Hey, are you guys in there eating Hot Pockets?"
No. I wrote an essay, and then I got in, and then I think I had to go work out at the gym once in the semester, and I did it the first week, and I was like, "Cool, bye."
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I remember so when I first started at Michigan State, I was in the United States Army ROTC program, which makes you work out, and I would have to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go run miles and do much push-ups and sit-ups.
So I know, like, obviously you're the one on this is supposed to be asking the questions, but
I'll talk. Yeah.
Your dad was in the Army. Is that something your dad wanted you to do, or like you wanted to do what your dad did?
So when I was applying to schools, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
You should have had a crush on a girl that went to IU.
Yeah, I wish it could have been that easy.
It pans out every time, dude.
Yeah. And so I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. And I had, my father was in the Army for 26 years and was very respected. And instead of finding something that I wanted to dedicate my life to in order to get that same respect, I just said, I'll just do that. And also at that point, the marketing for the Army was very, very, very aggressive because we were still in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they were giving away so much money. Yeah, a crazy amount of money. And I thought, okay, this is a very easy thing to do. Oh, it was also the recession. That's also very important. It was the recession. So everyone was like, there's no jobs. There's absolutely no jobs. You need to go to college to do a thing that will get you a job, or else you're just wasting your money, which is really disregarding, I think, a just as good reason to go to college, which is to learn how to be an adult on your own in a very low stakes environment. Also, you get to make out. Am I right, fellas?
in the ROTC?
You can make out with anyone. They don't have to be in ROTC.
Oh, that's where I'm at.
You get to walk around campus. You get to walk around campus in an Army uniform. It's very easy to meet ladies. It's great. But instead of, so basically, their marketing worked on me. They were like, hey, you can go to college for free. Look how many people here look up to your dad. Like, my dad went to see the campus with me, and these grown men were saluting my dad, which I hadn't seen in forever. And it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess this is way more attractive than, eking out a communications degree and finding a job there. And then in my first year, a couple of things happened. Number one, Barack Obama got elected, and troops started to come home, which I think was A+ number one. I think that was super, super, mega, mega awesome. Number two, the economy started to come back. Number three, I started stand-up comedy. And number four, I heard a lot of people in the Army talk about Barack Obama in a way that made me incredibly uncomfortable. And I thought, if this is just at the university level,
fuck yeah.
If this is just at the university level where these people are in academia technically, and they're saying these things about who is this, the guy who is their boss, there's no way around it. Barack Obama, the president, whoever it is the commander in chief of the military. If they're saying these things about their boss, and this is a little bit behind the curtain, but one of the guys who worked there, I don't remember his name, but he was a sergeant in the Army. He played something on his phone for some of his coworkers, where it was basically a voiceover saying, and now the president of the United States, Barack Obama. And then it was like, dun, 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 and then a gunshot. And that guy was in and I was like, oh, if there's this amount of just blatant, crazy racism, this is not good. And then
that doesn't even go on the iceberg of the sexism as well.
Well, yeah. And this is also history is on my side for not staying in the Army.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, it really worked out, honestly. Yeah, and then like in the next couple of years, all this stuff about about like the suicides and the rape and stuff like that came out, and I feel like I honestly dodged a bullet.
Maybe literally.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my that's what happened to me. But yeah, I was directionless, and that is when an Army recruiter sees a kid who has good grades and doesn't know what they want to do with his life, and family in the military, that is blood in the water.
Oh my God, they called me constantly.
Oh, of course they did. Yeah.
When I took that ASVAB, the Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery, the only acronym I've memorized in my entire life.
I took that. Yeah.
And they kept calling me to the point where I finally told them, they said, well, son, we can help you do any career. What do you want to do? And I said, I'm going to be a concert violinist. And then they stopped calling.
That's awesome. That is awesome. But they got a band. The Army's got a band,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a violin in that band, but
I mean, I guess the guy thought, well, I don't have that kind of pull.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know anyone over in the music department at the Army. That's so, yeah, I took that test, and like all these schools started calling me to be like, yeah, we can get you in here. We can get you in here. And they were like, okay. I was like a 3.4, 3.5, 3.6 student. But like, all of a sudden, with this, I can get into University
Yale.
of Michigan with this. Yeah. And get into Yale and walk on the football team just so I could kick some Harvard motherfuckers in the ass.
Yeah, but then that'd be like the Ryan Fitzpatrick years. Need to kick the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah. No, I think he's a little bit older than me.
Okay.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is, I think, I just Googled it. Ryan Fitzpatrick is 62 years old.
Oh, yeah, that checks out. Yep, you're right on that.
He's a very old man.
Yeah,
and he's played for every team in the NFL, the CFL, and NFL Europe, which is impressive.
No way.
Yeah, Amsterdam Admirals, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that was Kurt Warner's team, the Admiral. Who doesn't matter. Anyway, so where does violin fit in all this? And can you still play violin? And will you pleasure us with a song?
One, I don't know. I played all the way through undergrad. I quit. So I quit at 22. I played in symphonies, both Indiana, and then I eventually ended up at Purdue. I played in the symphony at Purdue for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I don't know where the violin is right now.
Our buddy John Idy, also a trained professional violinist.
I didn't know Idy played the violin.
John Idy, who we'll probably have on the show eventually. He'd actually be good on this because he was a real party animal. But no, John Idy was like a savant. John Idy started taking violin lessons when he was 4 years old.
Jeez.
And he like played in all these crazy concerts and stuff. Like he's played in London.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. He's an insane violin player. And he still is like, can do it effortlessly. It is disgusting to watch.
I was a downhill skier at 2, but that's all I got.
Ooh.
Yeah.
French fry or
2?
pizza? What do you think?
What's that?
French fry or pizza? Which one's better?
Oh,
When
pizza.
you're going down the mountain.
Pizza by far.
You don't want to go too fast. You got a pizza,
I know.
This is ski talk, baby. Okay, so you eventually end up at Purdue. You graduate from your undergrad. Why? And then what makes you want to stay in academia? What is the now allure? You've gotten the taste for college. You said, "Oh, I'd like to be going to college for the next 25 to 80 years." Why?
Well, so I was at IU South Bend, and I realized I wanted to study film. And I came and I looked at Columbia in Chicago, and I realized I would run out of money within about 20 minutes, and so that was not going to be a good option.
Not only are you going to run out of money, we'll eventually talk about Columbia Chicago, but I think Columbia Chicago is like the biggest trade school in the country.
It's a racket. It's 100% a racket.
For sure. Yeah.
And part of the reason I decided not to go there was they were like, oh, by the way, we're not accredited and your credits won't transfer. And I was oh, cool talk,
Yeah.
bye.
That's the correct response, Ken. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I went all out for Columbia. I'm walking around. I wore a black turtleneck for a campus tour. But I wanted to study film, and there was only 2 schools in Indiana that offered film, and it was Purdue and Notre Dame, and I wasn't going to go to Notre Dame. And so I ended up at Purdue, and I was moving in, and that would be my 3rd college in 3 semesters. And I asked my stepdad if he was going to help me move, and he was like, well, let's see if you stay at this college for a while.
I mean, that's not an unfair request.
No, it's not. At this point, based on my track record, and he is a betting man, the odds were on his side.
What is your stepfather bet? What does he like to bet? I have a bet going.
He's a blackjack guy.
Okay. I have the Nets and the Lakers winning tonight.
Oh, he does do all those. But he'll show me, like, I come home and he shows me like the piece of paper, like, like real bettors, they pull the piece of paper out of their pocket that has like all the notes and everything. And I'm like, this is hieroglyphics. Like, I've studied math and I don't know what this is.
Well, this man sounds depraved. This is a crazy person. I'm just trying to make sports interesting during a time where every team in Detroit sucks.
I'm so bummed they realigned the NHL, and I thought the Penguins were going to go into Detroit and Chicago's division, and then they decided not to do it at the last minute.
Well, the Ken, this is hockey we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I figured. I know some hockey. I'm a little bit of a hockey fan.
Well, Seattle's getting a team.
Yes, sir.
The Kraken. What a mascot.
Kraken. Those jerseys look. I think I've just seen like fan mock-ups, but I think I think those jerseys are gonna be fantastic.
The real jerseys are out and they suck. They're not great. They really, they're not great.
Boy, oh boy, what a bummer. But
I like the colors though.
The Wings, Chicago.
Yeah, it's good colors.
But no, the Wings, Chicago, and like all the Florida teams, which is stupid. But eventually the NHL is going to realize that like no one up here cares about the teams in the South. Right. And we're going to stop playing them because I don't give a shit. Like I just want to watch the Red Wings play like St. Louis, Chicago, Toronto, Buffalo, the Rangers, the Bruins, and the Leafs and the Habs. That's all I want. I don't care when they play Tampa.
No, it's fine. Why would you want to play the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins? I understand. Why would you want
them too? I'm not looking at all the teams right now.
Just naming all the ones that come to your heart.
Yeah. I don't. The Penguins though. It's sore. It sours me.
You took one from us. We took one from you, and then you just crumbled.
Yeah. Well, here's what it was. You can't half-ass a rebuild. If there's anything I've learned about pro sports, if you're going to rebuild, just tank it. Yeah. Just tank it all the way to Kingdom Come. Because now we're in year 3 of a half-ass rebuild, and we're still missing half our ass. I want my whole ass back.
You got to burn it to the ground like Jerry Krause tried with the 96 Bulls.
Boy, did he.
I just watched Last Dance, so I'm very topical on this.
Oh, good for you. Yeah. Well, I mean, that Last Dance thing was fantastic.
Oh my God, what a media accomplishment.
Yeah.
Media accomplishment.
It is. How do you sit on 500 hours of footage of arguably the greatest professional sports team to ever be for 20 years and then go, okay, I guess we'll make it now.
Yeah.
They know LeBron is on his heels. I actually think LeBron is a better basketball player all the way around, and should be named the GOAT. But that's neither here nor there.
It is neither here nor there. If I'm starting a team tomorrow, I think I have to pick LeBron because he can play more positions and he's not going to choke anybody on the team. Like Jordan is such like the one thing that I really got out of the Last Dance, and welcome to Last Dance, Last Chance to Dance. The last
This is
last
this is the sixth period of this is the sixth period of this class course.
Yeah.
Last chance to dance, a podcast about cold takes.
The one thing that I really did learn about The Last Dance is that Michael Jordan is unabashedly an asshole.
Yeah.
Like
The fact that he's like,
Yeah.
like 25 years later, he's like, the guy, he looked at my shoes, he didn't compliment them. And I took that personally. Like he remembers that today. He's forgotten the birth of his children, but he fucking remembers that.
Stone Cold. Also, he made up that story about the flu game in Utah and where he got food poisoning. That's completely made up.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Was he just
100%
hungover?
He
Or?
was drunk. Yeah, it was a party.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's, and yeah, I get it. You got to save face, but he doesn't. Like a regular person should try and save face. He does not have to save face. And him being hungover in that game, way better story, dude.
Way better story. Like, are you serious?
100% better. You got drunk in Utah. That alone is such a feat.
You got drunk in Utah and you're
so hard to
6'6". I'm 5'10". You know how many Utah beers it takes for me to get drunk?
Christ. Yeah, like you either somehow smuggled in, some Dewar's 12-year-old age scotch.
They still have like liquor in Utah. The beer is just trash. And you're high.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So you get drunk like really easily.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You went to Utah State.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ken's an Aggie.
Go Aggies.
I didn't realize they still had liquor. It's
Yeah, they
just,
still have
there's just
liquor.
no beer.
So they have liquor stores, but they close at like 5 p.m. So it's like impossible for you to ever get to the liquor store. And then they have like wine and beer at the stores and stuff. But the beer is like 0.5% alcohol. So like,
Is Utah State the same as University of Utah?
no, those are the Utes.
Yeah, I knew a guy who played football for the Utes, but I don't know anybody who went to Utah State.
Just say his name. We all know who you know, John.
Nobody, no, they don't. He's Mike O'Keefe. I know.
John
Running back for the Utes.
John is Twitter friends with the Dirty Bird Jamal Anderson.
That's pretty sick.
It's true. It's very weird.
That's
very
pretty
weird.
sick.
It's from those early days where like there was like 7 of us on Twitter. Yeah. We would just follow each other and then like call each other because we realized Twitter was boring.
Would you call each other and then say your tweets to each other?
There are definitely times I'd call him and go, I was drunk. I'd be like, should I tweet this? And he'd be like, no, it's not that funny.
You got to do the Dirty Bird with him one time. Yeah, like that's gotta go.
Man,
the Dirty Bird himself.
I'd have to, at this point, I could text him, but it'd probably be faster to book him on Cameo.
Do you think he'd do the podcast?
I can book him on Cameo. I don't know.
I don't want to do that.
Just a long ass cameo.
Yeah, Jamal. It's a 90-minute cameo. All right. Our buddy Megan Gailey is on a Cameo for $15. Book Megan Gailey on Cameo. Go for it. And I was like, should I do this for Mal for her birthday? For like Christmas? And then she was like, oh, Megan just called me the other day and I was like, I'm not, that's $15 for me, baby.
You want to tie this back to college? I had a college class with Megan Gailey.
Of course you did. A great Purdue Boilermaker in her own right. We might have Megan on one day. Why not? We do these on Zoom. We can have anyone we want on. You can add anyone. So you're back in college.
So mostly I stayed at Purdue to 2 reasons. One, I really liked making stuff like films and videos and weird stuff. And I was like, I don't want to make what people tell me to make because that's boring. Yeah. And I was like, if I become a professor, they'll give me a very small amount of money to make things that I want to make. And the secret to that was getting a Master of Fine Arts degree and becoming a professor. And then also because my stepdad was like, let's see if you stay at this college. I was like, I'm going to stay at this college so long, they make me faculty. Which I did.
Yeah. I got the long con on that.
I picked the wrench because fuck him. That's why. don't know what the cursing policy is on this podcast is. I'm ruining it.
You're fine.
Okay.
You played the long con on that big old drum.
I did. The world's biggest drum.
That's awesome. So it was really just like a way for you to fund your creativity. That's like a thing I've never heard of.
Yeah, like I wanted to make stuff and I didn't have a lot of bills, and they were like, hey, we'll take you in this MFA program. It's brand new. It was electronic and time-based media. And then they were like, and we'll give you a stipend to teach. And like, we were willing to give you $1,200 a month. And I was like, that at 22, I was like, I'm sorry, what am I going to do with the other $1,000 a month? Like,
yeah.
So,
amazing.
So I ended up doing an MFA for 3 years.
Damn.
Oh, that's cool. And then you got it. And then how'd you end up in Ann Arbor?
Well, so I ended up, Ann Arbor was a little later. I was applying to all these faculty positions, and faculty positions are seasonal. You apply in the fall and usually around like January. You interview February to March, April, find out over the summer, and then you start in the fall. And I didn't get any that first time. I wanted to be a professor, and I didn't get any positions the first time around. And then unfortunately, my faculty mentor in the art department passed away. And so they were like, hey, can you come teach Tim's classes? And all of a sudden I was on the art department.
Damn.
Wow. Okay.
So then I applied for a full-time position and I didn't get it. And I was still working as a freelance video guy at the time. So I would teach Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then I'd go out on the road Thursday through Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a real salty bitch. At the end of every faculty meeting, they would go around and say what everybody was working on. And spoilers, everybody was working on very lame stuff. And so they were like, John, what are you working on? And I was like, well, this past weekend I worked for Taylor Swift. And they were like, can you get us tickets? And I was like, no, I can't.
Ooh.
I remember it just being just a dick move. And I, to
Sounds
this
like
day,
you might have had a little bit of bad blood.
I did. Yeah.
God damn it.
Make that a
Just-
meme, everybody.
It was a salty ass move. And I feed off it to this day. So.
I don't think there's anything wrong if you're in a position of power. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a petty human. I really don't.
If they were going to give me a job, I would have gotten them some damn T-Swift tickets.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean, Speak Now is a fantastic tour. Come on.
So when you're, how'd that happen? And what was that like? Did you go on the tour with Taylor Swift or?
No. So throughout grad school, I worked for a video professor who I knew in undergrad, and he was a very similar situation where he taught Monday through Wednesday and then he'd go on the road. And so he was the video director for the Speak Now tour. And he was like, these tour rehearsals are crazy. We're running the show like 5 times a day. I'm having to, get all these cues, things like that. And he's like, can you come down for like 4 days and we'll just run these together and you can help me take notes. And so I ran down and I was basically the director's assistant where I would take notes and then we would run the show and then we'd go to like 5 meetings and we'd run the whole show again. And we did that 3 or 4 times a day. And then they flew out to Korea.
Wow. Okay. Did you feel comfortable giving notes on the most famous musician in the world's tour?
I didn't talk in meetings. So basically what would happen is like,
that's such an intimidating environment.
And then like every meeting would pare down levels of importance until the last meeting was just me and the video director. And I was like, so this person said this, and if you do this, then this is an easy way for you to do that.
Okay.
And then I said, this would be really dope if you do this. So at the end, I got to give logistical and creative input, which was super cool. And then I filled out like customs forms, which was boring, but
I mean, you take the good, you take the bad.
Yeah.
Get the rest, then you have Taylor.
The facts of life. The facts of life. Girls.
That's awesome, man. How do you feel about her 2020 output?
Folklore was great. Evermore is okay, but Folklore was really great. I love when she worked with Jack Antoff from Bleachers. So like half of 1989 was produced by him. So that to me is still probably like the best record. And if you want to come on a podcast, I'm sure me and Max Fine can make up a fake podcast about Taylor Swift.
We're gonna have our first Mallory Bradford appearance of the run. I liked folklore a lot. I don't know anything about Evermore, but we'll have her come in here very quickly and give her opinion. Hey, Mal, can you come in here for a second?
Bringing this back to hockey, the first night I met Mal was the night that the Penguins won the Stanley Cup.
You remember John Cessna, right?
Hi, good to see you.
Hey, nice to see you too.
Hi, Ken.
So John did video for Don't Speak?
Speak Now.
Speak Now for the Taylor Swift tour. I just lit up. How do you feel about her 2020 output?
I am so happy.
That's why she hasn't been on the show yet.
Wait, did you get to meet her?
So we passed each other a lot. There's this whole like don't talk to the talent until they talk to you thing. I will say one of the weirdest experiences of my life was I was in catering. It was just me and Taylor and her huge security guard back in the corner. I was the most hungover I'd ever been in my entire life because they're one of the roadies owned like 20 acres outside of Nashville. And in return for not going on the back like 15, he would just get a crate of moonshine every month. So when you were on the tour, you would end the day by taking the moonshine, you run your finger through it, you light it on fire, it burns blue, and then you drink until you feel it burn, and then you snap it out and pass the bottle. So I was very hungover.
That is not COVID safe at all.
That is not COVID safe. I was very hungover, and I'm in a room with just Taylor Swift and her bodyguard trying to get food, and she is just sitting looking at a scrapbook that a fan had given her on the way there, and she is rapping "Whip My Hair" back and forth to herself, and she knows all the words, not just the chorus. Of course she does. She knew it all. And let me tell you, the same energy on stage she brought to the scrapbook.
That's the best story I've ever heard.
That is amazing.
I know you guys are in the middle of a podcast, but I am going to derail this. Did Mike tell you before I came in here about the time that I sat 8th row at a Taylor Swift concert having free tickets and it rained and I just was like, I don't know how many feet it was, but I felt like I was next to her breathing the same air. And she was playing the piano in the rain and I was crying. And I went to the concert with my best friend's husband and he says it's one of the best nights of his life, even though he's married and he has a wife and he puts it up there with his wedding. And honestly, I've never had a better night of my life than that. And so if you can ever get a message to her, please tell her that I come at her concerts with the same energy that she comes at scrapbooks.
Okay. I don't know anybody. The last people I knew on her tour were on Red. And then from then on, I don't know anybody who's been on her tours.
Okay. Well, me and my cousin have big plans what I'm going to do is empty my 401k the second that this whole pandemic is over.
The taxes on that are enormous.
I don't
do that.
Okay, fine.
Please don't do that.
I'll take out a small business loan and then me and my cousin are going to.
That's totally fine.
We're going to follow her around and I don't give a shit what it costs. I'm going to be 8th row every city of her next world tour. I don't give a shit what you do when I'm doing that, but I will be gone for a few months. I'll be on tour with Taylor.
Okay, Mike, let me tell you, I wasn't a fan before working there, and she puts on a hell of a show, and she's a boss. This was Speak Now. This was like her third album. She's not even.
I listened to Speak Now yesterday.
She's calling out lighting cues. She's going, it's very important that the blue is here on the chorus of this. I'm like, what a boss. What a boss. And I ended the last day of the tour by building Darius Rucker's LED wall. So
that's pretty cool.
Oh, the Hoot Man.
Mike, I thought you were a big Hootie fan. I thought I'd type this.
Oh, I love it. I love Hootie.
Thank you for sharing this with me. I'm going to go back to posting my content.
Valerie Bradford, everybody.
Can we talk about how the most badass way to leave a room is by just saying, I'm going to go back to posting my content?
Yeah. Well, Mal fancies herself a bit of an influencer these days.
Okay.
Don't we all? I'm huge with the K-pop fans now.
Yeah. You're a big BTS guy. You love them.
I am. They thought they were tagging John Cena and they got me and now they love me.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Let's very quickly, let's get to what you're doing now. And then we'll talk about this crazy fucking thing that happened to you. That is fascinating to me.
So I needed a full-time gig. Yeah. Being a roadie was cool. But it's like you're living invoice to invoice and sometimes people call, sometimes they don't. So I was like, well, I want to go be a professor.
It is so rough to do that.
Let me get a full-time gig that'll support that. and I found a job at the University of Michigan working with instructional media. So basically working with faculty to make media to teach, to be better teachers. And I thought, well, this would be a cool thing to do. My contract had run up with Purdue. So I moved to Ann Arbor, where I make media specifically for the School of Public Health, where they made the polio vaccine. We are big vaccine people. While I was there, I also joined the faculty at Eastern and taught there as well.
Nice. And that's also when we became closer friends.
I met you, and then you moved away right away, and then you moved back and didn't even tell me.
I keep everyone on their toes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so now you're getting an MBA. What are you doing that for? That seems crazy after all this.
I mean, I'm just looking around and I'm like, I need some options. Like, I want to be able to be like, I left the U of M briefly and spent a year working for an ad agency, and I saw like people with MBAs. It's amazing how little talent and experience most people with MBAs have. And so I was like, I've at least done some shit. So if I can take some shit combined with an MBA, like maybe I can do great shit.
Yeah. That's a very similar mindset that I had when I was like, oh, I think I would be a good teacher because I have, X amount of years of real life under my belt. So It's not just going from school to more school. There's like, a decade in there where I'm learning and being able to bring that into the classroom. And also just not like, I don't know, this is definitely just me talking tough, but I don't think I'm going to be afraid of the kids. And I mean,
hormones and milk, man, these kids are huge.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Definitely. But I'm like, I don't know. I took a shit on the side of the road in Wisconsin. And if I didn't do that, I wasn't going to get paid. I know a lot more about life than these kids. I just have to remember that, in my opinion.
I mean, you and I have both done terrible shows in terrible places. And so I feel like on like the worst day of our professional career, you'd be like, well, at least I'm not at, oh man, what was the name of that town? I don't know. The building was made of aluminum. It was red, white, and blue. The show was for 3 sober cops and a woman who kept screaming she was on meth. And Ryan Niemiller from America's Got Talent was the headliner.
Oh man.
Nice. Nemo is a nice man. I did a show in Miami, Oklahoma. And,
I knew 2 Miami. I didn't know there was a third.
What's the other one? So there's Miami,
Ohio, and Florida.
Oh yeah, okay. Miami, Oklahoma. They call it Miami. So the show was at a casino. A guy just kept yelling during my set, and and I just like, it's Oklahoma, so I'm just there with stock lines like, get out of here, hillbilly. Why don't you go smoke meth out of your sister's asshole? Things like that.
Just stock lines.
Stock lines.
Another t-shirt.
And like, he just goes, I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring all my guns. And so I had to like be like walked to the car by this security guard. And that's like a crazy enough story. But this security guard was 16 years old. Yeah. 16.
So that's why you're not going to be scared of the children, because you've had them assigned to protect you.
Yeah. And I did not feel protected. I did not.
Man.
I did not. Also, the scariest I've ever seen a grown man was in Miami. My buddy Josh Alton was the headliner, and we drove down there from Minneapolis, and he smoked too much weed and got terrified because he read a news story on his phone about a weed bust in that town and that everyone went to jail. So he thinks because he has a nug that he's also going to go to jail. They're going to storm the Radisson.
I'm here for weed and waffles.
Yeah, so nuts. All right, let's talk about this very quickly, though. A bunch of BTS fans thought John Cessna was John Cena. What's that like?
So I've had a running joke for years. Anytime I've had something go viral, like whether it's like Reddit or
And you've had a bunch of, you make these goofy Christmas cards every year. And by goofy, I mean, they're very funny and they're very subversive and they always do very well on the internet. Like, just tell us what one of them was one year.
So one year we had a Santa worshiping cult that was like all people in these like flowing red robes, and they were holding candles, and they had like reindeer antlers, and they had me tied down to an altar, and they were getting ready to stab a candy cane through my heart in front of like this huge oil painting of like a demonic Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And I think the tagline was like, "He sees you when you're sleeping," or something like that.
Amazing.
Which rightly so, that's hilarious. And you put a decent amount of work into these things.
Every year we would, I was very fortunate when I was both an undergrad and grad. I made a lot of awesome friends who are infinitely more talented than me, have all these awards, Emmy awards, and huge budget productions of their companies. And for some reason, they still talk to me and answer my texts when I've had like 3 rosés, and I'm like, "What if it's a snowman and I'm fixing to blow the carrot?" Like,
yeah.
So they'll come together and we'll spend, the shoot days are usually, when we used to do these, we haven't done them in a couple of years, but those are usually 10, 12-hour shoot days. And we'd spend $1,000, $1,500 to make one of these photographs. No money back because Patreon wasn't a thing yet.
Oh my God. If you would have dropped one of these in 2019, you'd do one a month and they would pay for it. It would pay for itself and then some.
Yeah. So we've talked about bringing them back. We haven't done it in 2 years, but we had a really successful run. Reddit loved them. Grand total, I think we did something crazy like 140 million hits for the whole series.
Wow.
But anytime something goes viral, I was like, whoever sees this, use whatever power you have. I want to remake the 90s movie classic Twins with me and John Cena.
Yeah.
And so
you would,
Yeah. And so I asked, when a bunch of K-pop fans thought they were tagging John Cena, I made some witty banter with them, whatever. And then I was like, okay, now that you're all here, I want to make this movie where me and John Cena are twins. And I was like, please use your considerable internet K-pop power.
Yeah.
And then they all corrected me that they're not K-pop fans. They are ARMY, which is what BTS fans call themselves. And they are bigger than K-pop. So
okay.
Watch yourself. And then they were like, and we will make this happen. And then they started tweeting like photoshopped posters, and like they started retweeting the tweet, and it had something crazy. Last I checked, like 400,000 or 500,000 Twitter impressions or something like that. And John Cena's tagged in all of them. So I hope like John Cena's intern is like,
that's not John Cena checking his mentions.
No, he's not checking the mentions.
Yeah.
But I think where his breaking line will be though is that I want to be the Arnold part and he's going to be the DeVito part.
That's amazing. You should.
Yeah, I mean, we have to twist the reboot.
Yeah.
Fair.
You can't just remake. It's not Psycho in 1999. Yeah.
No. God, what director redid that?
No. Gus Van Sant.
No, it wasn't Van Sant.
Yeah. Shot for shot remake.
I know it was shot for shot. Yeah.
Vince Vaughn in the Norman Bates role.
I am shocked if that was.
Yeah, it was Gus Van Sant. I don't know why I'm waiting for you to look this up. I know the answer. This is just as insulting.
God, it was Gus Van Sant.
Of course it was.
I owe you a huge apology.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I went to film school too, asshole. Like
I know.
I got a very different film degree than you did. The one I got at Michigan State was through the English department. So basically what I got a degree in is ruining movies for myself.
I mean, I don't mean to call you out here, but every film degree ruins movies.
Oh, totally. It's if you're not trying to get into the business and be like a camera operator, don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, my degree we were technically interdisciplinary studies. So it was a mix of English and comm and film and stuff like that. So actually my first paper I wrote when I got to Purdue, I wrote it for this one professor and he gave it back to me. And his comment was, thank God you are in my class. You are in urgent need of an education in cinema, C-.
Jeez.
And later, I dedicated my master's thesis to that guy and said to Ben Lawton for giving me the education in cinema of which I was so urgently in need.
Wow.
Love it.
And I had to explain to him the joke, and he was like, "Well, I guess it worked." So,
What a humorless prick. I know you can't say, but I can. That guy's a prick. All right, John Boy, this has been fun. Thank you so much for doing this. But right now, it's time to get rid of the niceties.
okay,
And start getting into the quizzities.
I'm ready.
We do this quiz at the end of every show. So as of today, as we mentioned earlier, the first episode, the episode with Josh O'Neill came out. We gave $25 to My Block, My Hood, My City, which is a great inner city charity here in Chicago. It has been matched by one person who's already been on the show, Mallory Bradford. But if you want to match the donations that we make, just find me on Instagram at the Mike O'Keefe. DM me your receipt. I'll mention you on the show. I'll give you a shout out. If anything happens from the show, just being able to raise a little bit of awareness and a little bit of money for some educational charities and some inner city charities and charities that help the community reach its full potential. I think that's the main thing we got to get out of here. That, and we need to start selling some Casper mattresses, baby.
I was brought here by stamps.com when I'm looking to ship my quip.
Johnny, do you have a charity that you like to work with and donate some money to in your head?
Not off the top of my head. Who I would say, if I get to pick one, I would love to talk to my buddy Ellie Savitt. Just got elected the prosecutor for Washtenaw County, where I live. Okay. And he is like super being like, this charity needs help. This charity needs help. This charity. This is a really good one in education. So I don't have one off the top of my head, but if we can, like, when this comes out, maybe throw him a tweet and be like, hey man, what education based charity here in Washtenaw County can we throw some money at?
I think that's a great idea. And I think that's exactly what we'll do. Also, if Ellie Savitt can get rid of some moving violations I got in 2007, I'd really appreciate that as well. That would be great. All right. So usually I'll ask the guest what their best subject was in school, and then I will write questions off of that.
Oh my God. If you wrote business questions, I'm
last
screwed.
week I did not do that because our guest had a Great Gatsby podcast. So we had a bunch of Great Gatsby questions. This week, because I know Cessna is getting an MBA, I asked our friend of the podcast, the host of the episode 420 podcast, a podcast where they watch season 4, episode 20 of a different show every week.
Oh, that's Rico, so smart.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really fun show. I do a thing on their Christmas special that comes out this week. Rico Javier, who is also in business school at Georgetown University, a real school, not like UM Dearborn.
Oh God, that's such a better business school than I go to.
I had Rico write me some questions, and I'll do this. So I've decided to start doing this. We're going to do, if you don't, we're either going to do, there's going to be, if you don't get any of these right, if you get none right, I'll still give them $15. So $15 minimum.
I appreciate that.
$15.
As a proud Wolverine of the University of Michigan Dearborn, I'm proud of that. I appreciate
as a proud Ann Arbor junior football Wildcat.
Not everybody can be a Blazer, baby.
Not everybody. As a St. Thomas the Apostle Fighting Irish. That was my grade school, baby. We gotta listen. Washtenaw County, there's shit neighborhoods in every town, and Ann Arbor is not exempt from that. And Washtenaw County includes Ypsilanti, and I love Ypsi. You will not find a bigger proponent of Ypsilanti than me. I lived in Ann Arbor. I grew up in Ypsi. That's what I like to say. That's where I got into all of my trouble. And so anything I can do to help the good people of Ypsi, I'm all for it. And Chelsea, Michigan, you suck. You're out of here. You're not even involved. Celine, ugh. Dexter, ugh. talking Ann Arbor Ipsy here, baby. Let's not send this to your prosecutor, buddy.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
I'm kidding. I think Washtenaw County is Dexter, Ann Arbor, Ipsy. Correct? Do you know?
And
John,
Chelsea and Saline. And then there's like, I think just a little bit of Lyon Township that touches before it changes to Oakland. So
yeah, Chelsea, Saline, and Dexter. You're actually okay in my book. You're great towns, but Ann Arbor, Ipsy. I'm talking Washtenaw Road. That's my home. I'm talking Washtenaw Road. I'm talking the big boy at the corner of Plymouth and 23. Rest in peace. I love you forever.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you knew. I didn't want to break it to you.
I know it's been gone for a while now, and every time I drive by it, I go, "If those walls could talk," they'd say, "Get out of the walk-in freezer. Stop smoking weed in there, O'Keefe." Anyway, here we go. Here's here are some business school business questions. Here it is. All right. Question number 1. What are the 5 forces in Porter's 5 forces framework?
Supply, demand, Cool Ranch, nacho cheese, and barbecue.
Oh yeah.
All right. Oh, man. Okay. So instead of barbecue, it was sour cream and onion.
Yeah.
Competitive rivalry, supplier power, buyer power, threat of substitution, threat of new entry. Porter's 5 forces framework. Business. What? Okay, here's number 2.
Couldn't be the thing I already have a master's degree in.
Nope. This is a show about bettering yourself, John.
Oh. By making you feel like shit. I gotta pay tuition in a week.
Well, maybe you can rethink it after this.
Yeah,
No kidding.
Maybe there's some other stuff you can do. What is EBITDA?
TDA. So EBIT is earning before interest, and then DA maybe depreciation and assets.
What would the T stand for?
Taxes, earning before interest, taxes.
Yeah.
And then DA, depreciation and assets, maybe.
I'll give it to you. That's 1.
Okay. What was
they
the
put
A?
Amortization, but I think that's.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Probably not. I'll give
It's
it
not-
to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Most of the time, you just deal with EBIT. So because technically, when you calculate cash flows, depreciation comes in after EBIT. But okay, whatever.
All right.
Wait, I don't know how they're doing it in Georgetown.
I feel like I don't know what Pat Ewan's doing up there. Friggin' Iverson with his short ass talking about practice. Get out of here. Also, now I know how Alex Trebek felt, because there's no way Alex Trebek knew the answers to all of those questions. But he did know, he did have access to the answers. And you just feel like the king of the world. You really do.
Just a genius.
To people listening, they probably think that I'm some savant. No, I'm just looking at a screen that John can't see. That's all it is. That's all Trebek was doing. He did it with class, though. God, I love Alex Trebek. All right, here we go. Here's question 3. What is a marketing funnel?
A marketing funnel.
Which is the same as a marketing elephant ear in certain parts of the country.
So the inherent irony, this is I'm a marketing concentration, but I'm so in the core right now that I've only taken 1 marketing class. I don't know, probably something to do with like market segments. So it's like you have like an overall customer, and then you funnel down into a segment, and then you funnel down into like a demographic, and it just keeps going further and further down until you're from like all people into like 1 basic customer.
That's exactly what Rico put. So good job.
Is it really?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
There it is.
Hell yeah, 2 for 3, baby.
Maybe you should keep trying to do this. That's what. Oh my God! That's what my uncle said when he saw me headline the Comedy Castle. Said maybe you should keep doing this.
When you headline one of the best clubs in the country,
Yeah.
your family members like,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
Keep going.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
You're like
it
8
turns
years
out you're
in
still
at
a
that
prick,
point.
huh? Yeah.
2 albums out, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was thinking about it. All right. What is a 10-K? A 10-K.
Oh man, it's some sort of tax form. I'm not actually sure what the K would be.
Yeah, it's a tax form. A comprehensive report for any publicly traded company. That sounds like a tax form to me.
Yeah, it's an SEC statement.
Okay, great. I'll give that one to you.
It's a bonus point, I think.
I think so. All right, here's the last one. You've done great so far. Who are the big four?
Ooh, I know this.
The big four.
I'm guessing these
I don't
are
know.
marketing agencies.
Finance agencies.
Are they
Like
finance agencies?
Like accounting firms.
Oh, so it's like Morgan Stanley. Yeah, I once you tell them to me, I'll know them.
Ernest and Young.
Lehman Brothers.
That was always my way of taking a test.
Yeah.
It would say on the paper, who is Abraham Lincoln? And I'd go, you know what, Teach? I'll know this when you tell it to me.
Yeah.
So what Rico
Ernest and
Blood,
Young.
and again, I didn't write these, which is what I have to say in every single one of my Trivia Hub games. Trivia Hub, an actual sponsor. Trivia Hub, it's the hub for trivia, baby. The big four are Deloitte, PwC, EY, and KPMG.
Yeah, those are marketing firms.
Okay,
So,
great. Those are the big
yeah.
four.
Yeah. Man, that stinks. I would have said three of those. For some reason, I hadn't gotten confused and thought they were ad firms. So, but yeah, and they get super confusing because they buy each other, and then there's like 7 acronyms deep. So yeah, I used to do work with GTB, who's under WP. So yeah.
I liked BSB.
Backstreet Boys.
They were way better than NSYNC.
You're a liar. You're.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that kind of.
Yeah.
I don't have opinions on that kind of music because I'm fucking cool. I think looking back, I think NSYNC goes down as like the better one, right?
For sure.
Totally.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, like
Well, they
fewer
definitely
records, but more hits, and they haven't had to cling to the longevity of temporary fame.
Well, I mean, I think what it really comes down to in a group like that is like who's the best one, and JT by a mile.
Yeah, it's not
even close.
What are you gonna say in BSB? Kevin?
Ugh.
I don't even know. Who
Howie D.
Oh,
AJ McLean. No thanks.
is he still on Dancing with the Stars?
I don't know. He was dancing with a pipe for a while there.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, he had a lot. He had some substance abuse problems.
Wow.
Is that the phrase that they use in Michigan? Dancing with a pipe?
Yeah.
Dancing with the pipe.
Yeah. Dancing with the pipe. Yeah, I've never said that before. I don't think I should say it ever again.
No, definitely not.
I like it. I think that's a great merch idea. That should be a merch.
Dancing in the pipe.
It's just like 2 pipes dancing. It's like just an awful Beauty and the Beast.
That'd be like if a woman was a lesbian and then decided to try and date dudes for a while. She's going. What happened to Trish? She's dancing with the. Anyway, John, thank you so much for being here. This was very fun. Thank you so much. And I'll tell you what. I'm gonna bump it up to 20 for the Washtenaw County charity of the Washtenaw County prosecutors choosing.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. This was really fun, and you made me feel somewhat positive about my educational journey and the fact that maybe I'm doing okay at business school, man. If I can get a 3 out of 5, that's a D at Georgetown, baby. I'm doing
Oh
okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. Alonzo Mourning's letting you put in a layup. But before we get out of here and plug our nonsense, Headmaster Ken Hamlett, how do we do today?
Wow, today I was actually thoroughly impressed. Some enjoyable conversations. You know, we all agreed that LeBron is the better choice. So right from there, we're talking A territory. Great sidebar conversations, and you know what? Because I screwed up your last question there, I have to give you an A. So
Yes.
we're giving you all an A. This was a great episode.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate
Love
that.
it.
This for sure goes down in the books as one of the top 5 episodes so far. So that's
Well,
Man, I was just shooting for top 6.
this is the 6th one, so you pass guess, you figure out who's the odd person out. Ben Roy. No. John, tell them where they can find your very funny Twitter, and if there's other things that you'd like to tell people to look at you at.
Sure, I'm on everything at John Cessna, JohnCessna, just like Cena, but 2 more S's. And then I don't really have a website anymore, but you can always check out some stand up at racistgrandpas.com.
Grandpas, love it.
It's a good website.
Thanks.
Yeah, as always, at the Mike O'Keefe for everything for this. Match our donations to the charities. You schnooks. Make some of your life. Let's let's pump some money back into our communities because the government isn't going to help us because they're a bunch of jacks. Ken, where can the people find you?
It's Ken Hamlett on everything. That's KenHamlett on all social media sites. And then you can go to my website at bigblackschlongs.com. Check that out.
That's better racist grandpas.
Everybody, it's the best. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you in school. Until next time, ass dismissed.